Thank you, Madam Speaker. Today I rise to honor Mr. Neil McKiernan, an outstanding public servant who just recently announced his retirement from the House of Representatives, where he's worked for over 20 years, 17 of those years in my office and 7 of those years as Chief of Staff. Neil is a native of the state of Connecticut and began his journey over 20 years ago on the Hill as a young assistant working in Congresswoman Linda Sanchez's office. He then moved over to my colleague John Larson and worked there for a short period of time. And then when I was first elected in 2006, joined my office. Neil worked on a variety of issues during his time there. I see my friend Mr. Kelly from Pennsylvania. We worked together to repeal the Cadillac tax in 2019, and Neil was part of that really massive bipartisan effort to protect and stabilize the health benefits of union workers, non-union workers all across the country. It passed by a margin of 419 to 6 on the floor. Mike and I were here that day, and Neil was actually one of his rare visits to the Hill, to the House floor, was there to join us. But the centerpiece of Neil's work was the fact that I have the honor of representing the submarine capital of the world. It's the home of the oldest submarine base, the New London submarine base in Groton, where there are 16 attack submarines tied up and doing great work for our nation every single day, as well as Electric Boat Shipyard, a 120-year-old company which has been building submarines for the Navy and happening to this day. Again, there's a picture here of, in 2014, of myself and some staff from the House Armed Services Committee. Neil is the gentleman on my far right with the glasses and the cup of coffee. It's before dawn at the Naval Port Facility in Canaveral, Florida. We were about to embark on the USS Missouri, which is the sail of the submarine right behind us, which was built in Groton and commissioned back in 2011. It's over in the Indo-Pacific region doing great work for our nation. Again, when I first came to office, the shipyard was in a dangerous downward spiral. After the Cold War, procurement for submarines had just totally collapsed. The shipyard, which once had 28,000 plus workers, was down to roughly 6,000 or 7,000. And beginning that year, we got a plus up, working again with Neil's incredible work, Ike Skelton, Jack Murtha, others, to turn around that spiral. Today, the shipyard employs over 21,000 workers. We now, again, have a build rate of 2 attack submarines, and now the Columbia-class ballistic submarine program is beginning its work. They just laid the keel for the second of those vessels. And it's a great legacy that Neil leaves behind him in terms of really reversing what really would have been a just tragic loss of an industrial base with unique talents, but also making sure that our Navy has an undersea fleet, which today, with the threats from China and Russia, is still our strongest, card in terms of rebutting and creating real deterrence to keep the world safe. Admiral Gary Roughead once said our submarine fleet is the queen on the chessboard in terms of being able to go anywhere undetected, with stealth, and with again, the might and potency to really make sure that our enemies and our competitors abide by international rule of law. So again, as Neil begins the next chapter in his life, again, I just want to express my deep gratitude personally, but also for a moment before this House, remind people of the fact that people like him, our great staff people, are so essential in terms of doing big things that benefit our country. And again, Neil, best wishes to you and your family and your future. I yield back the balance of my time.